Good morning. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. So welcome to the 9 o'clock hour where we basically dissect conversations that are related to Nigeria's system, political, economic, and today we are winding it down to the security system of Nigeria. My name is Martha Alu.
And of course, my name is Victor. Okay, glad to have you back on the conversation with us this morning.
Glad to have you. Now, today we are not just talking about headlines, we're talking about lives. From Zamfara to Benue, from Niger to the northeast. The sound of gunfire has become more familiar than the sound of school bells because kidnapping has become an industry, a full-blown industry. Homes have become targets. We saw a couple being taken out of their home sometime last week, and fear has quietly become a national currency. Now, in the middle of this crisis, Nigeria has a new Minister of Defense who happened to be celebrated far and wide throughout the country. People kept posting his pictures, talking about how much they believe in him. And I'm talking about General Christopher Musa. His swearing in is coming at a time when Nigerians are not asking for promises anymore. They are demanding results, and they are demanding that people who are able to provide those results are put into the positions that are important. So this morning, we are asking the questions, the hard questions, by the way. Is this leadership change a strategic reset or a political reshuffle? Can military experience alone solve a crisis that is now deeply economic, political, and social? And most importantly, how much longer can Nigerians wait for this peace? This is not a conversation for comfort. It's a conversation for accountability, where we are asking the right questions to hold the government accountable to ensure that we get the answers that we desire and we deserve. Now, getting into it today, we have two sides. I'll call it two sides of the coin. Because both parties have in-depth perspective on this. We have Prince Kevin Fineface, who is a security consultant, happened to have, experience or being able to deal with security matters over the years. And then on the other hand, we have Musa Mufasa, who is a public affairs analyst. Good morning to you. Very well, thank you.
To you guys again.
It's good to have you join us. So, top of my head, I'm thinking who is going to be the accurate timekeeper. Who is going to be the panel of judges and the accurate timekeeper for us today. Do we have both parties on air with us? Okay. Good morning to you again. So let's get right into the matter. First of all, we want to hear what your takes are on the swearing in of General Christopher Musa as the Minister of Defense, because a lot of Nigerians seem to have a lot of perspective. And for the first time, we see most Nigerians come out with one voice saying, okay, this is who we want. This is someone that is going to be able to serve in this capacity. What are your thoughts on this?
Is that for me or it's for?
It's for both parties. So let's start.
Okay, so we need to be able to. We need to be cute so that we don't just get talking at the same time.
Okay, let's have you. Let's have you.
Okay, yeah, fine. I think General Musa's appointment is a welcome development. If you listen to him while he was the Chief of Defense staff, you notice he's been very consistent with his approach and all of that. But we can't also look at the fact that Nigeria is one very interesting country. I always say it's a cobweb nation, which means everything is connected in some kind of ways that you can't really, take yourself out of it. So we listen to him while he was at the screening and the things he said. The implementation will be the next thing. Let's see how far that goes. So benefit of doubt, yes, there's a possibility that because he's been through the process, a fine officer will grew from a commission officer to where he was as a general, there's a possibility that he will do right and I see that will get to reduce the level of insecurity we are currently experiencing, which for me, I believe, is simply a going concern because insecurity in the country is no longer what it used to be like insecurity in the context of insecurity as regards to insurgency, terrorism, all of that. There's a going concern, there's a major business running through as an act of insecurity. So we have to look at reducing the economic, potential of this insecurity as much as the national sovereignty protection, on the other part.
Okay. Do we have Mr. Mufasa on the line? So we'll get his thoughts on
I'm with you, Mata. Yeah, thank you.
as the Minister of Defense. Do we have him on the line?
Yeah, well, I'm here. I don't know if you can hear me, but
We
I'm
can
here.
hear you now.
Definitely we can hear you
clearly.
All right.
Okay, good. I think for me, qualification-wise, of course, Christopher Musa has the credentials, to man that office. In terms of experience, of course, he has all the experience. Like my, guest colleague has equally said that he has risen through the ranks and, rose to the rank of a general, before retiring as a soldier. But for me, qualification alone, doesn't really go, especially considering the prevailing circumstances we're having now in terms of insecurity. We also need passion, we also need empathy, and we also need commitment. Okay, I'm aware that as chief of defense staff, we recorded some high level of attacks, and we really did not see the military, doing much, in order to forestall, prevent, or even apprehend some of these, non-state actors. So I wonder what different approach he is bringing to the table this time around. Of course, like my colleague has said, that this thing has moved away from what the initial modus operandi of this terrorists, as the case may be. Before, what we hear is they come, they bomb, and they run away. It's not as if we were happy when it was like that.
Okay.
Mufasa.
The line is breaking. The line is breaking.
But
Mr.
now
Mufasa.
we are seeing.
Hello, Mufasa. I think we're having a little bit of a network issue with you here. But let's go on with you, Mr. Fineface. Let's talk about the implications of the transitioning, of General Christopher Musa from a career military person, a former CDS, and of course now to the Minister of Defense. Do you think that his appointment as the Minister of Defense is going to strengthen the military of Nigeria right now? That's for you, Fineface.
I guess the network is doing its thing this morning.
Sorry, what did you say again?
Okay.
Do I think that what?
All right. Now, talking about the transition, right, from Christopher Musa being a career military personnel, of course, also the former Chief of Defense Staff, now being appointed as the Minister of Defense. Do you think that his appointment is going to strengthen the Nigerian military in the fight against insurgency?
Obviously, his appointment was strengthened. The reason I say so is this: as a career, as a military officer, there are limitations. The political leadership dictates what he can do, and so you're limited. You're only meant to take orders as a military officer. But now, it has transitioned from being a military officer to now the political leadership. So which means that you do not necessarily need any other person to tell me anything. You understand the game. You understand what is required in the field. He has certain limitations while he was the Chief of Defense Staff. But while he was, a commander, he did so well. I mean, there are reports of his exploits and all of that in the military as somebody who was in the theater. He became the Chief of Defense Staff. That was more like a political appointment, but with certain limitations. Don't forget, he has to take orders from the minister. Whatever he needs to do needs to actually be cooperating with the minister. But now he's not the minister, which means there's a possibility that he would do far better than when he was the Chief of Defense Staff or while he was even a military officer. He understands the game. He understands what is required by this man. You understand the difficulties. You understand the challenges that officers and men do face in the field. And so he will be able to administratively provide the necessary needed support for them to have the much necessary result that is required. So he will do better. And General Musa is a very fine, officer that we must give to one of the best that we've actually had in the country.
All right. Thank you very much. Let me still ask you, Mr. Fineface. do we have a security strategy? Because at the time when we saw the war between Israel and Gaza, we noticed that certain strikes to Israel was shielded by something that looked like a globe, or that was, described as a globe at some point, that fired back, all of the attacks that was targeted towards Israel. That, I would say, is one security strategy that the people of Israel at the time used to protect themselves from the attack of Gaza.
Yeah,
now,
the Iron Dome.
Exactly, the Iron Dome. Now, do you think that we as Nigerians have a security strategy, or we are just reacting crisis by crisis? Because I never truly see a conversation about this is the structure that we should follow. So do you think we have that structure, or we just react to crisis alone?
Well, security strategies are basically communication strategies. It's not something you bring out to the public to let the public know. But there's also the aspect of security education that is required to engender the general public to know the basic drills that is expected. Should there be any untoward, these are the basic things that should be done. Now, that's, I believe, that we are lacking to some extent, because our national security policy, we don't have it digestible at the moment. Sometimes ago I said on your station that we needed to be able to have a national security safety and security strategy policy that needs to be on ground. We also need to be able to have a national security communication strategy. We don't have both. I remember when I was in SLA in the National Assembly, we're actually written a motion, we submitted a motion to that effect, demanding for a national security communication strategy that the nation needs as a country, because we need all of that component to be. When you look at the theater of what theatrics, you realize that there are certain basic requirements. In terms of equipment, do we have enough of that to fight these guys? Well, it's 50-50, because we've seen some of these men, at the war front complaining of lacking the right weaponry. We've also seen these criminal elements, the terrorists, brandishing some sophisticated weapons, which tells you something, that they don't just have those things just by chance. There's a possibility that the Western world is also partly contributed to what we are facing. There's a possibility. If those groups are already affiliated to ISIS, that is terrorizing the entire Middle East and the West, then of course that there's that Islamic agenda that is being fondly financed by these groups that send them the weapons and all of those things they needed. But we cannot also, like I said, there's that economic aspect. For Nigeria, are we fully ready by equipment and manpower? In terms of manpower, I think we are, to the extent to which I get to know, but we're also having our limitations, in the sense that most of our recruitments are done in an hush-hush manner. It's a fire-brigade approach. We do not take our time to provide you the right recruitment process that is needed. Then in terms of equipment, they're also lacking, because security contracting is one of the things that bedevils us as a people. And so you have the warmongers who see this as an opportunity to make more money. So awards are given to companies that do not necessarily have the requisite capacity to deliver, because cronyism has set in. Now, cronyism can only take place where there's nepotism.
Okay.
And so if you look at the process of recruitment, the process of security contracting, there's a bedeviling aspect, which is nepotism resulting to cronyism, resulting to the level of corruption we are seeing. In terms of weapons and weaponry that have been supplied to these men to fight the war. Then there's that religious, ethnic religious sentiment aspect. You notice that the general that was captured and killed by this group, we saw complicit internal sabotage taking place. He escaped from ambush. What was an ambush if there was no internal sabotage?
Exactly.
Which gives us that ethnic religious sentiment. Now, it indicated his location, and it was picked up from his location. And we're not. I want the press to begin to ask those questions. And like he said, General Musa said, they're going to investigate, they're going to visit that aspect. We also saw what happened in Kebbi State before the kidnapping of those school girls, took place. That the military, there was somebody give an order to withdraw the men who were there. There was an intelligence. But guess what? The internal sabotage made it difficult for that to take place, for them to, at least present that. So, you make reference to Israel. Now, this is a country that understands the terrain they're in, the level of threat that they have, and prepare way ahead of time. Are we prepared in that order? No, we're not prepared in that order. We oftentimes wait for this fire brigade approach before things are done. And that's part of what is been developed as a people, because Nigeria do not value security until something goes wrong. Even Nigerians. And you have a country where somebody will build a house of 300 million naira and guide that house with just 15,000 naira may guard. It's insanity, isn't it? I mean, it falls out everywhere. I mean, you find it in every given establishment that you go to, that until there's a problem, there's one security threat, there's one security breach, then you now have them start giving. And you know why they do that? The reason that is also possible is because the security contractors are the cronies of those in government. So they want until there's a major problem so that they can bypass the business process required for procurement, which will require that you must, advertise all of this. So they do emergency procurement. Now, that does not need any type of procurement law to be followed through. It's emergency procurement. And by so doing, they make more money for themselves. And that's why we're having the issues that we're having. So we don't have enough weaponry to fight these guys. But again, it's not the normal type of warfare that we're looking at, where you say you need the type of warfare. So this is more like a guerrilla type of warfare. It's not symmetric that you have to do it. So we have to follow through the symmetric approach. And for you to do that, it means that there's a whole lot of things that's involved. The human intelligence aspects that is required, the community-based policing that is required, the local government autonomy that is required. Then you also now need to be able to have the right weaponry. We have defense industry there in Kaduna. And recently, they just displayed the standard producing weapon for the first time in a way that is more appreciable. We hope that they sustain that and get to be able to deploy that for these men, officers and men that are in the field to fight this war, to be able to contain that threat. Don't forget that it's not just a normal threat that we're looking at.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let's talk to you, Mufasa. We've seen various videos, by these bandits, kidnappers. Most times they get to make a recording, sharing with us where they are. I saw a video that some of these bandits emphatically called on the Nigerian military to come and get them if they're really looking for them. And we've seen the new defense minister saying that one of his strategy is that he's going to use the technology-based database that is linked to phone numbers and also get to monitor ransoms. Now, looking at the situation that we find ourselves in our country, Nigeria, do you think that this particular strategy that the new Minister of Defense is saying that he's going to use in fighting against insurgency, do you think, first, based on the level of infrastructure that we have in our tech ecosystem and of course in other systems in the country, do you think that is going to be an effective tool for the Minister of Defense to fight against insurgents?
For me, if going by what the minister has said, if it's something that we want to start, utilizing now, I think it will be quite, shameful. Okay, this insurgency has stayed with us for a very long time. It's more than a decade, and if we are talking about, introducing digital system at this material time, that goes to show that we have not attempted it before, and it will be quite unfortunate. In my initial deposition, I was saying something about sincerity of purpose and intention. If the commitment and passion is not there, if the sincerity of purpose and intention to combat insecurity is not there, whatever the defense minister, the new defense minister, Gwabin Musa, has said in his inaugural statement, whatever he has said for me amounts to nothing. What Nigerians are saying is that, like you rightly said, we have people who are, occupying territories within our own territory. We have people who, have internet handles. They make calls, they do videos, and it's clearly demonstrate that the government is not ready. Okay, they even told us that they know where these people are, which means we are not even looking for them. We are not looking for them. They said they know where they are, because it was the NSA or so that told us that they called them, or one of the aid of them, that they called them before they released some of the victims that was in their captivity. So for me, what I'm trying to just say simply is that the government has not shown sincerity of purpose and intention. Gwabin Musa, with all due respect, will just be the minister. Is not going to be the president or the commander-in-chief. If the president does not, want him to operate effectively, there's nothing he can do, even if he has good intention. So for me, the leadership of this country must demonstrate that sincerity of purpose and intention.
Okay.
How come they will know? How come they are claiming that these terrorists are hiding in places that bombs cannot penetrate? Which military in the entire world would say such a thing? Whereas in America, we have bunker busting bombs. So then let them stop deceiving Nigerians. What we want to see is real actions, not big grammar. So that's my position on that.
Let me ask you this question. Because you have made mention of the fact that, it is much more than General Christopher Musa, because, I mean, the government also needs to set a structure right.
Exactly.
So now the question I want to ask, do you think that the military alone is able to fight the insecurity we are talking about? Because it's looking like someone has come from the military to come and solve all the problems that we have. And do not forget that Nigeria is fighting terrorism, banditry, oil theft, cybercrime simultaneously. We're fighting all of these simultaneously. Now, is our security infrastructure or architecture overstretched? Or do you think that aside from the military, there are other bodies that are responsible to collaborate with the military and the Minister of Defense to help us fight insecurity?
Well, of course, within our security, architecture,
okay,
we have, the agency that are responsible for intelligence gathering. Okay, you cannot fight insecurity without intelligence gathering. Let us make no mistakes about it. If you don't have the necessary and required, intelligence information to fight insecurity, whatever you do becomes counterproductive. And like I've said before, these people, they are not hiding. They are not hiding from anybody. Before now, it used to be these people coming out to bomb churches, go to public places, detonate bombs, and they run away. But now they are making, in fact, it has now become a business. It has now become a business. They no longer go to bomb public places. What they do is they come, they collect people, and they go. Huge numbers of people. So let us try to be sincere. It is not about, swearing in a new minister just for the purpose of somebody occupying that office. We want to see a situation where we begin to see different things being done. These people need to be arrested. The community people, they know these people. They pay taxes to these people. So if they pay taxes to these people, if the government can go and negotiate with them in their camps, why can't they be arrested and save the army this stress and drama? Bandits and terrorists, they are one and the same people. Let us not be trying to be clever by half. Whether you want to call them bandits, you want to call them terrorists, they are one and the same people. Okay. So the government know where these people are. They should go and arrest them or do whatever they can to stop all this, the senseless killing and adoption of innocent Nigerians.
All right. Let me come to you, Fine Face, because earlier you said that that the Nigerian military doesn't have the weaponry, to fight against insurgents. Now, recall just very recently, I think this was on Sunday or Saturday, the Floyd coup that happened in Benin Republic. I'm talking to Fine Face right now. The Nigerian Air Force were there, and they went in there very swiftly, and they were able to curtail that particular situation. Now, that is just one aspect. Now, if you say we don't have the weaponry, how come we can move from Nigeria and go to an international soil and, contain a coup that was planned by that country's military? Hello, Fine Face.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I can hear you. I think there's something you missed on what I said.
Okay. Go ahead.
There's one thing having a weaponry that we can use to fight your own immediate threat. There's another one deploying system that you can use to fight threats outside of your terrain. Benin Republic is less than a state in Nigeria, for crying out loud. So if one fighter jet goes off their airspace, it's like, it's like doing something very big. Nigeria, don't forget, because of our strength, it's and our numbers is respected and feared. We are the giant of Africa. And so when we do something in a very small way, it looks so big. It's like, having what do you call it, a cat, and you have ants all around the cat. I mean, what do you expect? The cat is a giant. But that's what it's like. So when I say we don't have the right weaponry, it is that we've also heard some of these men, officers and men in the field, complain about lack of weapons or shortage of ammunition to withstand these guys because of the type of weaponry that they have. It's not like we don't have the capacity for such, but we're not getting that because our war is a mismatch of both ethnic, religious, economic, and political interests. The political class is doing what they're doing to undermine the government so as to make the government look wicked. Then there's a religious aspect that is also utilizing this opportunity to strengthen their jihadist interests under the guise of jihadism to expand religious base. Then there are those who now saw the opportunity to make living so fast from the kidnappings that takes place in those regions and the illegal taxation that is taking place that you will find that my colleague had mentioned. So those are the aspects you have to look at. So for you to fight this kind of warfare, you need to be able to not just say, I'm going to do this. Now, I must give it to General Musa and we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. The reason is that General Musa understands the use of technology as a basis to fight terrorism or any type of criminality is a very welcome development. These guys operate where they operate from, not that they are not known. Even carbon tracing, they can detect where they are. We have the technology that is out there that they can be deployed if they have the right communication relationship with the West on our part. But that we are able to do this not because we don't have the right weaponry or to go to we have the right way to go to the Republic, but that this is what is the challenge to the degree which I explained earlier.
All right, thank you so much for that one. Now let's move on to the next question. While you were speaking, you made mention of the fact that there was an intelligence gathering, and after that intelligence was given to the military, there were leakages of that information. I'm talking about the kidnappings that took place in Niger State now, and the military officers there were called back. Now, we also made mention of the fact that before the general was killed, he gave his location, and only after he gave that location was he killed. Again. And we have heard many military officers on videos, on social media, come out to say that they have not been given the order, that if they give the order, they know exactly what to do and how to get these terrorists. Now, we also saw that the president declared an emergency on insecurity. Yeah. Do you think that emergency he declared on insecurity solves anything if we still have intelligence, funding leakages, and command problems? If these problems still remain, do you think that the emergency that was declared on insecurity would stand, or do you think it means anything in general? That's for you, Mr. Fineface. Do we have you on the line?
I think the network is fluctuating.
I think the network is fluctuating.
Is it? Are you talking to me?
Yes, we have you. We have you, Mr. Fineface.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's the declaration of state of emergency or security is a welcome development, but the implementation will be the challenge. The question is that how are they going to deploy this emergency situation that we've actually declared in terms of manpower, recruitment, in terms of security contracting as regards to the weapons and all of those things. Those factors are key, to getting this sorted out. If it's not done that way, then it becomes a challenge for them.
Okay, did you get my question correctly? I guess the network is still fluctuating.
Yeah. Let's talk to Mufasa.
Yeah. Yes.
Hello, Mufasa. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, you're asking.
Yes. Mufasa, are you on the line with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Do we have anyone on the line?
Hello.
I'm here.
Mufasa is here.
Okay. So can you give us a bit of insight on that question? I'm sure you heard the question I asked Mr. Fineface. Can you expand on that a little bit for us?
I may have not followed
Yeah.
through on all the questions, but if you just give me a hint.
I think we have a very terrible network this morning. But
Hello.
These are very important conversations that
Hello.
we should have.
Of course.
Because imagine intelligence being shared to the military and then someone leaks out that information and then
Hello,
the
Martha.
officers there that were mounted on ground to salvage the situation were called back.
Yeah.
Minutes after that, there was an attack on the school. If there is an internal sabotage, it becomes almost impossible to fight the security situation within that community, within the Nigerian community at all, because no matter the effort that is being put in, there's someone there, there is a mole in there. And once there's a mole, it becomes impossible for you to completely solve the problem. Because whatever is told to Peter is, it gets to Pan.
Right.
It gets somewhere eventually.
Very true. And of course, we've seen the situation of accountability, being a major problem as well when it comes to matters like this. Because up until now, nobody has actually taken the fall for that particular situation. Who called the soldiers back? We heard that there's an investigation going on, but how intense is that investigation right now? Because again, look at it. The Nigerian military is a very sensitive, group or institution as it is. And if it is being watered down, if there is so much of a vulnerability in that particular sector or institution, it then tells us that the vulnerability is going to, also affect the entire nation as
Absolutely.
it is. But let's go back and talk to. I think I'm hearing the sound of Fine Face. Fine Face, are you up with us? Okay, I don't.
Hello.
Think, okay, that's Mufasa. So Mufasa, let's talk about.
Yeah, I'm here.
Let's talk about accountability now. How would individuals, civil society organizations, hold the new Minister of Defense accountable when it comes to the functionality of his duties or the carrying out of his duties right now as the new defense minister?
We can only hold him accountable through the office of the person that gave him that assignment, which is the president. The minister reports to the president, and the minister can only do what he can based on what he is given. Okay.
How do you mean what he's given? Please explain to us what he's given, because he has been assigned a responsibility. We cannot go back to the president who assigned him a responsibility to now ask the president why he's not performing.
Good. They say potentials without the essentials is inconsequential.
Okay.
The minister cannot act arbitrarily. We just talked about how a general in the army, a brigadier general, was murdered after escaping an ambush. He gave out his location to his own people, and and he was intercepted, captured, and killed. That matter is still not attended to. We know of the situation where soldiers were asked to leave a location after like 5 minutes. Terrorists came and abducted school girls. That matter is still there. Nothing has been done about it. If the president truly wants to get some of this information, I am very, very sure and certain that given the required support, motivation, and command, the military will get to the root of the matter. All of these technologies that we are talking about that we have not applied so far, it's not as if we don't have it. But they will not deploy this technology because there is something they are doing with these the terrorists that they are not telling Nigerians. Otherwise, how come these people they claim they are looking for? The likes of Tuji Bello and his group and some of these bandit leaders, they still come out to attend functions, they attend peace meetings with community leaders, even government officials. But they don't get them arrested. So what are they telling Nigerians? It's not about appointing Christopher Musa. My position is after appointing Christopher Musa, who by all means has all the qualifications, after appointing him, will you give him the latitude? Will you allow him the latitude to bring his best to bear?
Absolutely.
Are we not going to be having some of these bottlenecks because of some certain connections that the ruling class have with these terrorists, allegedly, because I'm on national TV.
All right.
But we know what we are seeing, and we know what we are hearing.
Okay.
When a government comes out to tell you that they put a call through to these people before they release the person, the people, it gives the impression that the government know where these people are, but they don't want to apprehend them. They don't want to stop them from carrying out their nefarious activities, and it's quite pathetic.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Mufasa, for giving us your insights on this matter today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and I think the network has been bad, but
Yes.
it's always a pleasure to be on your platform.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank
All
you very
right.
much.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, same here.
All right. Now, first, let's hear what your concluding thoughts will be.
I think it's just important that we really get to see the Minister of Defense work. You know, at this point in time, we need to see that there is result. Nigerians need to see the result. There is so much of fear in the heart of Nigerians. This is the festive season. A lot of persons are beginning to cut down on their travel plans. People are even trying to say, well, we're no longer going to travel. You know, people are, security conscious. And I think that his duty, his responsibility right now is to, regain the trust of the people and ensure that there's a result when it comes to the fight against insurgency. And that's, for me, what I really want to see.
And I loved how Mufasa ended the conversation, which is a question we asked here.
Of course.
Last week, we said it's not about giving the person who is the man for the job. Would you give him the allowance to carry out his responsibilities? Because the military, time and again, have said, give us the opportunity, give us the order to operation wipe out these terrorists, and then we would have them. But let's hear the concluding thoughts of Mr. Fineface before we wrap up. Do we have you, Mr. Fineface? I guess the network at your end happens to be very terrible this morning. Mr. Fineface, do we still have you on the line? So we'll have your concluding thoughts. All right. I guess then we'll wrap it up. But the long and short of it is, if the entire... Can you hear us? Well, if the entire plot is to cripple...
Can you hear me?
The network where you are is very bad right now.
Okay.
All right.
Let's
I
wrap
think
it
this
up.
is Nigeria, so network is always bad in Nigeria.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't take it in fault.
No, not your fault. No, you just shaded our country, but yeah, we agree. It's terrible everywhere.
Yeah, but let's get your concluding thoughts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, conclude with us. What's your final thought on this whole matter this morning? Fine.
Okay, so my final thought is simple, that as a country we need to be able to change our security containment strategy. That we need to be able to have a national security policy and a national security communication policy. I mean, national communication security policy. If we have all of these things, better than what we cannot do, we can now focus on our recruitment process, ensuring that only those who truly are qualified are given such opportunities to serve. Then you also now have the situation where that can also help to take care of this ethnic religious sentiments in terms of our recruitment. Then we also need to look at a particular area. What is fueling all of this crisis? Since the introduction of the Sharia in the 19 northern states of Nigeria, we now have this criminal Sharia need to be reviewed to civil Sharia, so that these people will not be seen thinking that they are doing what they are doing in the name of religion, to propagate the religion that often does affect the national security of the country.
All right,
if I just will be able to get our country right.
All right.
All right. Thank
you so much for thank you for that one.
Yes.
All right, this is where we wrap up the show today. The long and short is, if the plot or the ploy of these kidnappers and bandits and jihadis is to cripple the military, because everything that has happened in the last couple of months is gradually making a caricature of the military. Imagine intelligence being given and people being withdrawn, a brigadier general being killed or murdered after he shared his location with his people. That has been recounted multiple times here. It's important that we set the structure right, so that we take out the most and we bridge the gap, so that where we know that our house is in order, we can now launch out together to fight out that insecurity and all of the issues that we deal with. But thank you so much for joining us on the show today. It's been an amazing conversation. And I would love for you to know that we are active across social media platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, Twitter, which is now X, at Rappi TV. On YouTube, it is at Official Rappi TV. And on YouTube, basically, it allows you to share these conversations with friends and family, just so they are aware and they get more insight into the stories that make the headlines from time to time. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and do let us know that you're watching and you're connecting with us. On our website is www.rbnradiotv.com. Until tomorrow, my name is Martha Alu.
And of course, my name is Victor. Okay, see you tomorrow.